Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, November 18th, 2019, and we again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. I always start off with this, but in my opinion, the prices as close as you can get them to the close of the market are the most valid prices, and I say this because during the day, the normal part of the trading day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders, they're battling out. There's a lot of noise, a lot of confusion. At the end of the day, and particularly in the last few minutes of the day, you have the large financial institutions, you have the market makers coming in, buying in size, moving the prices where, in my opinion, they think are the most valid prices. And that is why I choose to make the majority of my buying and selling decisions right before the close of the market. So anyway, I hope everybody had a good weekend, had fun, was safe, did some chart studying. I know I did. Boy, did I do a lot of chart study this weekend. Almost too much, but I've been working on a couple projects with my charting, and once I get it all down, I'll definitely share it with everyone. So I'm working on some pretty interesting things. So anyway, hey Jackson, what's going on, my friend? Good morning, sir. Hope everything is well in Australia. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. All right, so it looks like we're coming through okay. So the market is up across the board, not a lot, but slightly. Dow Jones is up 25 points, up about 0.1%. The Nasdaq's up 13 points, up about 0.16%, and the S&P is up 1.72, up 0.05. So pretty slow day all in all, but that's okay. Slow days are fine as well. All right, let's take a look here. Jackson says Twitter looks like it rejected the 30 intraday. Very good observation. That's exactly what I was looking at, and I guess I'm going to have to wait and see where that closes, Jackson, but I don't like that it rejected the 30 RSI above it. Of course, if it's below it, it can act as support, but when it's above it, it can possibly act as resistance, and that's what it looks like it's doing. So I'm kind of inclined that if Twitter does not close above the 30, that I'm going to just go ahead and lock in that gain. But it was a good gain. It was a good trade for one day. So we'll just have to watch that for sure at the end of the day. Hey, Gamer Squad, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, well, listen, the plan for today, as usual, first of all, we're going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer. We're going to get that out of the way. After that, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions. We're going to talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, what methodology I used to buy them or enter the trade, what my thought process was, and then we're going to talk about how I'm going to manage these trades going forward, either to the upside or to the downside. Then after that, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about some trader psychology, how important that is. It's the best skill that you can learn in trading, literally the best skill. And it is the one skill that's going to make you a long-term profitable trader, or if you don't have that skill, you most likely will probably not become a long-term profitable trader. And I say this every day. I know I sound like a broken record, but first of all, you need a plan. It doesn't have to be the best plan in the world. It just has to be a decent plan based upon, small risk, possible large reward, support, resistance, these kind of things. But then you have to have the skill to follow through on your plan. And if you find yourself creating a plan but not sticking with it, then you need some work to do, or you have some work to do, right? You need to improve your skill on following that plan. And when things are going well, it's not too hard to follow your plan. But if things turn around, you start getting a drawdown, the market starts going down, that's really when you're in danger and in jeopardy of really just throwing your plan out the window and shooting from the hip. And I can promise you, from 24 years of trading, that is not going to work. I promise you it is not going to work. You can take that to the bank. All right. So We're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to take a look, go through all the stocks in my watch list one by one. We're going to take a look at support and resistance levels. We're going to look at indicators such as MACD and RSI and moving averages and ATR channels. And my philosophy on trading, the way that I view the charts, when I look at a chart, I look at indicators. I look at that as a potential group of buyers. So if you want a stock to go up, you want to be in the company of buyers. So if I look at one indicator and that's one group of buyers, okay, that's good. But my chances improve to have a profitable trade if I have multiple groups of buyers, and that is why I look for a confluence of multiple indicators lining up at the same place. So that's really what I like to look for, are a confluence or a combination of indicators. So we'll go through the charts, we'll go through each one, we'll look and see if we can find some type of entry signal, some kind of confluence of signals. And then after that, even though we identify that, we have to make sure there's a good risk to reward based upon the setup. Sometimes you can get a really great setup, you can get crossovers and things going on with RSI and break back over other moving averages and things like that, indicators that I look for. But when you look at it in reference to your channels, your Keltner channels, you may be overbought. Maybe it doesn't give you a good risk to reward ratio. So first step is identify a good setup with a confluence of signals. Second setup is make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio, meaning that you have more potential upside than you have potential downside. And then after, I go through the list. If I identify something that has a confluence of signals, if I also look at that possible setup and it looks like it has a good risk to reward ratio, I'll go ahead and I'll enter the position at the end of the day. Then after the market closes, if anybody has any questions whatsoever about anything I discussed today, please let me know. Don't be shy. Just type it in the chat there, and I will definitely get to it after the market closes. If you have a setup, looks like a good setup or an interesting symbol that you would like me to look at before the market closes, if it's time sensitive, if you think it would be helpful to the group, please just put it in the chat, maybe put an asterisk, a few asterisks by it, something like that, so when I look over at the chat I can see whether or not it jumps out at me and I know it's time sensitive. So all right, well, that is the plan for today. So if you don't mind, please hold on about 40 seconds for the US legal disclaimer, and I will be right back. Thanks.
This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much.
All right. Make sure I turn that mic back on. Yeah, good. Jackson says, it's always a slow day here in the morning in Oz. Hey, that sounds good. Murat, hey, bud. How you doing? Good to see you, sir. That's Murat, our friend from Norway. Hope you're having a good evening over there. Hope the dog's doing well. All right. Well. So we're up again, which just seems crazy to me, but that's good. It's good if you're long. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and look at my current positions, and we'll talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage this moving forward. So I did buy Dollar Tree back here on the 13th of November. Good setup, in my opinion. First thing we did is we rejected the previous day's low and rallied back above the previous day's close. This is called a V1, where you have a low. The next day you wash out that low and then you close above the previous day's close. It's important that this day one bar here is not larger than 1 ATR, and it's not. In addition to that, we did bounce right at the 30 RSI. And when you're above the 30 RSI very often acts as support for you, and this is exactly what happened. So in addition to the V1, we bounced off the 30, closed back over 30. We also thoroughly washed out this 100-day moving average to the downside and reversed back up. So under 30, or at 30, over 30, under the 30 ATR channel, over the 30 ATR channel, and we have this nice V1 here. So it has moved up since we bought it. First day was the most. I think we hit one profit target and another profit. I'm not 100% sure. I know we hit some profit targets somewhere in here. But I can't remember now exactly which days we did, because these are pretty close. I think the first day we did, maybe the second day we just missed it. I can't remember. Today we got kind of close to my first profit target up here at 107 or 109.79. But today, pretty much an inside bar, still above our profit target, our entry barely. Has not really moved up enough for me in order to start trailing a stop here. My initial stop is a halfway of this washout bar on this V1. I like to use a close beneath the halfway of this distance. The reason I use that is because when you have a large bar up like this from a Fibonacci standpoint, you should have some Fibonacci support here at the 50% on the up bars. If you have down bars, you'll probably have resistance at halfway of that bar. Oh, sorry. Miss Katie is, 1 second, sorry. She has all morning to make her move, but when I start speaking, that's her trigger to want out. So anyway, it hasn't moved up enough for me to really start trailing anything. Halfway from the washout bar, a close below halfway of the washout bar is where I will exit this, but still up on the position, but not much. All right, world famous SPY trade. So I do mention this each day, and apologize for the regular viewers here, but in case we have some new viewers, I do want to explain why I do buy the SPY each day. So this is a back study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. This back study has two options. Option number one is you could buy the SPY each day at the open, sell it at the close each day. So buy at the open, sell at the close, buy at the open, sell in the close. If you would have used this approach and have done it every day since 1993, you would have actually returned a negative 13.9% return for all your trouble and work. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, and buy the SPY at the close each day, sell it first thing the next morning. So buy at the close, sell at the morning, buy at the close, sell the next morning. If you did this every day from 1993, you would have returned a positive 634.2%. So, which one do I want to use? Do I want to buy at the open, sell at the close? Or do I want to buy at the close and sell at the open? I definitely want to do the latter, and that is what I do every day. I buy the SPY right at the close, sell it first thing in the morning. You can see the chart here. The blue line is the buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning. The orange line is the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon. The buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning has a clear edge over time, especially compared to the opposite of buying in the open, selling at the close. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is true, and that goes for any trading methodology. But if you have a trading methodology that has a good back-tested, proven edge, and you're able to stay in the game over years, that edge will be able to play itself out. You can see it has nicely played itself out. There's ups and downs in between. That's why it's always important to be conservative with your position size. I use a 10% position size. So if I had $100,000 in an account, I would buy $10,000 worth of the SPY, sell that $10,000 the very next morning, and hopefully have a gain. So I've been using this since February 26th, and it's been quite profitable. Doesn't win all the time. In the month of May, I think I lost 80% of my overnight SPY trades, but in other months, I've had great months, right? And that's how it works with all trading. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you do it for the long run if you have an edge. hopefully it will play out for you. So I did buy the SPY on Friday at 311.79, and I sold it this morning for a slight loss, 311.52. So very small loss, but like I said, since I've been using this, it has been quite a nice profitable approach. In the last 30 days, you can see just buy at the open, nice profit. Buy at the open, sell in the morning, nice profit. Buy at the open, or I did that opposite. Buy at the close, sell at the open. 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 But here's a losing one. Buy at the close, sell at the open for a loss. Buy at the close, small profit. Thursday to Friday was great. Bought here, sold at the open. So small loss here. That's okay. You know, one of 1,000 trades, right? It's one of 1,000 trades. I'm not going to get too excited about any one overnight trade, and that goes for any of my regular positions too. You know, every trade, it's just one trade of the next 1,000 trades. Just go through it. Don't get all, you know, worked up if one position goes against you and the next day it goes against you again and against you again. If you're positioning correctly, each gain or loss shouldn't have a huge impact on your emotions. So, all right, so I will be buying SPY again at the end of the day. Okay, and here is Twitter. So I did like this setup. We had this nice sideways movement on, I did buy it on Friday. Friday formed a V2. If we go back to Wednesday, here's Wednesday, day one. Thursday, washed out day one, did not close above. If it had closed above, it would be V1, but because the next day after day two closed above day one's close, this was valid. So day one, day two, day three, day two washes out day one, day three closes above day one's close. The washout bar also went under and back over the third ATR channel. MACD was positive. Now, you're not going to see me do this a lot when the RSI is under 30, but I really did like this sideways movement. Nice V2 under the channel, over the channel, and MACD positive. So with that being said, you can see we've had a nice day here. It's up about 1%. Did not hit a profit target yet, but you see this blue line? This blue line is the 30 RSI, and I put this up here last night because I was pretty confident that if we did rally today, we would get stuck with resistance right at the 30. And that's exactly what happened, like almost to the penny, right? Because when the 30 RSI is above you, it's going to act as resistance a lot of the time above you. If the price is above the 30, it should act as support. So being that it rejected the 30 RSI underneath up to the 30, and it rejected it, and currently it also looks like it's rejecting or has rejected the 10-day, I think I'm going to take this off unless we can close above the 30 RSI. But it was a good one-day trade. Very, very happy for that. I mean, close to 1%. That's pretty good in one day. So we'll have to see. I could also revisit it if it keeps going up. I could revisit it when it closes above the 30 to give me a good risk to reward to the downside if it closes under 30. So if this closes under the 30 RSI, I'm going to go ahead and just take this trade off and call it a nice one-day trade. Okay, XLRE. I did buy XLRE back here on the 13th of November. Very similar to the setup on Dollar Tree. We moved sideways. This day here, it went under the 30 RSI. The next day, it closed above the 30 RSI. That by itself is a good enough signal for me, under 30, over 30. But at the beginning of the show, I talked about a confluence of signals, and we do have a confluence of signals. We have close under 30, close back over 30. We have a beautiful V2, some nice sideways movement. Here's day one, day two, washes out day one, day three, the entry day, closed above day one's close. We also rejected the third ATR channel under the third, over the third. So three indicators that lined up at the same time. Again, close under 30, close back above 30. That's 1. Close under the 30 ATR channel, close back over the 30 ATR channel. That's 2. And in addition, you have a nice V2, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 2, washes out day 1, day 3, closes above day 1. And I really like this. This was a very small bar, the day 1 bar, which is always ideal. You can see it's moved up nicely our way. Up, up, up. We did hit one profit target today. We did break over the 50 RSI. Now, currently we're at a 50.66. If this closes under the 50, that means it will have rejected the 50 and closed underneath it. I will go ahead and take that off. Just like Twitter rejected the 30 RSI above. So, sorry, I'm having to cancel some orders here. So the plan is, if this can hold the 50 RSI, if it can close above the 50 RSI, I will continue to hold it. If the next day it closes back under, I will let it go. If it holds above and continues to move up, but it rejects the 50 RSI, then I would also, that would be my signal to get out and lock in profits up there as well. So I'm going to have to watch this very carefully. Right now it's at 50.51. So Dollar Tree, oh, went positive a penny. That's good. So Dollar Tree, nothing here. It's going to have to move higher enough for me to lock in some kind of, or implement some kind of trailing stop, or close below halfway. SPY, of course, is going to buy that at the end of the day. Twitter, if we close under this blue line, if we close under a 30 RSI, I will go ahead and just get out. And then XLRE, if it closes under a 50 RSI, that will be my signal to take lock in profits as well. But that's been a nice trade. All right. So listen, this is the time of the show where I do like to talk about trading psychology or some helpful, trading tips or thoughts or good trading words of wisdom. But this, there are some good Twitter channels out there that, make an effort and put out good trading words of wisdom for people about psychology. And one of them is Frederick Dulia. I hope I pronounced that correct, Frederick. I apologize if I didn't, but at ODU capital FX. ODUCAPITAL-FX. So, and Akil Stokes retweeted this too, and Akil Stokes, of course, puts out good information too. But Frederick says here, a successful football coach named Pep Guardiola, who's adamant on perfecting the process, not the result. His idea, just to paraphrase, as long as the process is good, the goals will come. In short, as long as the setup is good, the loss will be small, the profit big. And, this is so true. It's about the process, whether it's football or trading or any other sport or endeavor. You have to have a process. And in trading, I feel like most people think that there is this like secret indicator or secret setup that wins all the time, and it's just not true. It's just not true. And I was mentioning before about trader psychology and emotions and having a plan. Listen, your plan doesn't have to be all that great. It doesn't have to have Nobel laureate and PhD mathematics behind it. It really does not. It can be extremely simple, just as simple as, buy over the 30 RSI, sell under the 30 RSI. It really doesn't matter. But what matters is that you have a process where you look at the support levels, you look at the resistance levels, you buy at support, you sell at resistance, you make sure that your risk to reward is good, and that is your process. And if you have a process with just an adequate trading approach, I think you're going to do fine. But the reason why most people don't do fine is they don't follow that process, right? They just don't follow it. So get yourself a decent trading approach. Doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to be dramatic, just simple. Buy at support, sell at resistance, make sure your risk to reward is good, and then follow that process. If you have a decent process over time, you should make money, right? So as long as the process is good, the goals will come. So, I talk about this every day, everybody, but until you've really gone through a big drawdown or a trading disaster, I think people hear this, they're listening, but maybe they don't hear. But get yourself a process, get yourself a plan, get in the habit of following that plan, and I think you're going to do fine. So thank you, Frederick, for that. Appreciate that. All right. All right. Anybody have any interesting trades going on right now? Of course, you see mine here, but I have no idea what other people have. It's kind of fun for me to see what you guys are trading as well. All right. William is here. Hey, what's going on, William? Thanks for coming by, my friend. Hope everything is well in Hawaii. And say hello to Cooper for me. The Cooper is William's dog. Hey, Mount Doji, what's going on, my friend? How are things down in Texas? Hope you're doing well. Any trades going on for you, Mount Doji? Mount Doji says, I was also in a REIT. PEI? Pennsylvania real estate. Oh, I think you bought the V2, I believe, Mount Doji, right? Moved up nicely so far. That's good. Good, good, good. Dr. Long says, long puts in EMR. Okay, interesting, interesting. When did you get in those, Dr. Long? Mount Doji says, I hit a price target, but I do still have a position remaining. Yeah, I would imagine that you would, Mount Doji. I'm glad you did take some profit, though. I mean, it moved up nicely enough for you to take a profit. What's your stop on this, Mount Doji? What's your plan? William says, currently in Uber, bought on Friday. Okay. So, yeah, that's William. So, yeah, I do kind of like this. You have a V2. Here's day one. Day two washes out day one. Looks like day three closed above day one's close. Under the channel, over the channel. Did it get to 30 RSI? And back over 30. Yes, interesting. And what I like as well, William, is that you had support back here from this previous low. This is a good example. This is actually a good teaching example. But yes, I mean, under 30, over 30. Under the third ATR channel, over the third ATR channel. V2, day one, day two, day three. Day two washes out day one, day three closes above day one. And in addition, you had support back here as well. So excellent, excellent. So looks like you're pretty close to break even on the trade, but that's okay. If I use this position here, I would most likely, well, I'd have two options. I could get out close of the halfway the washout bar, or a close under 30 RSI. Dr. Long says, I was long ROL, bought puts for 50 cents on EMR. for 50 cents. All right. Haroon, good to see you, Haroon. Hi, Greg and all. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming back. Appreciate it. Dr. Long says, long call spreads on ROK. All right. Rockwell Automation. Boy, that's up there, isn't it? William says, yes, rejected the previous low, been looking for more of these setups. Yeah, I think it's a good setup, William. Of course, we don't know if it's going to work, but it is a good setup. I can tell you one thing. If you took that setup that you took on Uber 100 times, I would feel pretty confident to say that you, out of those 100 times, you would win 60 to 70% of that, 60% of those trades with this setup right here. Haroon says, is Uber a good long-term buy now? Well, I honestly don't know, Haroon, but I do like the setup. Does this mean that this nice setup mean is this the bottom for Uber? I don't know. I could honestly, I could not say that. But what I can say, it's a good setup for some type of swing trade, or some kind of short-term trade. I do like this setup, but this by no means means that this is the bottom of Uber. This may just be a 2, 3, or 4 day up, or it may immediately come back down, but it does give you a good risk to reward with a good reward to the upside and a small downside if you're wrong, to good upside reward to the upside and a small downside risk to the downside. Mount Doji says, do you think WOR needs more sidewards action? Well, of course, we were above the value zone. We came into the value zone. It's never really stopped going down, Mount Doji. Down, down, down. We did have an up day today. It is a V1, not a great V1 because this bar is so big. I don't know how this back test over the 200 day. Of course, a 200 day, you could always buy above this 200 here. And if it closed below, just hurry and get out. I wouldn't even consider taking this trade here unless there was this 200. Let's look at the weekly chart. Big down bar, halfway. If this were a return to value V1, V2, 100% it needs more sideways movement. But because this is, looks like it might close over the 200, you could take it with the 200 and your stop would be a close under the 200. So it would give you a good risk to reward from that point. And if it closes over 50, that's positive as well. Dr. Long says, tax loss selling continues, EOY. I put that in there right. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're saying end of year. My ideas on shop. All right. Well, Shopify had a 520 cross. Let me take a look at that. Then I'm going to have to get to the charts. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time. Let me see. Let me pull this up. So this is etfreplay.com. This is what I use for all my back testing. Let's see. 520 exponential Dave Cross. Well, it back tests okay. I mean, it's the 5 EMA crossing over the 20 has in the past up till now had a positive return. Not as good as buying holding, but still not too bad. The drawdown is less than buy and hold. So, you know, you do have a 520 cross right here. It's triggering today. It's not too high. Generally, the maximum that I will take a crossover trade is at the second ATR channel. I'll hold my nose and take it. But yeah, I mean, you could take it there. Your stop would be a close back, the 5 crossing back below the 20, and your profit target to the upside would be a rejection of the 70 RSI. Hey Marco, good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good evening. Oh, Dr. Long says tack loss selling an Uber. Hey, Steve Burns. Hey, bud. How you doing? Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for coming. Always an honor and privilege to have you here. Steve says, hey, Greg, I have been reading the Jim Simmons book, and it looks like your SPY end of day trade and sell the open is exactly the kind of edge they look for in historical mathematical patterns. You know what, Steve? I have been reading that book as well. The Man Who Solved the Market. I just bought the audiobook, and I was listening to it last night. That hedge fund there in Long Island. Now I forgot the name of it. Renaissance Technologies, I think. Huge returns, like have beat everybody, even Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, everyone. Oh, that's interesting to hear. That's interesting to hear. Good to see you, Steve. Glad that Etsy trade's working out so far. Yeah, it's been a good book. I'm just barely in it though. Like lots of secrecy, but yeah, these guys seems like they have figured this out. And that's the book, The Man Who Solved the Market. All right. Let us take a look over here and let's get going down through. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time. Here we go. Apple. Apple up again? Of course it is. It never goes down. Look, this is insane. This is insane. This happens like once a decade. I mean, this is just insane. I really do think though that once we get some type of sell-offs, that people are going to want to lock in their profits. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not predicting this, but I wouldn't be surprised one day in the near future we, see one day move that took out 2 weeks worth of upward move. Can't say that for sure. Looks like we did reject the 80 RSI or pretty close to it, but I need a pullback in Apple. I just can't get involved up here. Adobe above the third ATR channel. Of course, we all know that's very strong. Would like to see a pullback. Ideally, I'd like to see a pullback into the value zone. The green line here and the green line here, the positive ATR channel and the negative 1 ATR channel. I'd like to see it come back into the value zone and bounce at the 200. This is what I would really like to see. Advanced Micro Devices, my goodness. Could you imagine if you were short this? This would just be pure hell. Pure hell. And, I believe that some of the reasons that we're continuing to go up to are people are shorting the market. It's not going down. They're having to cover. That drives the market back up. Hard to pick a top. Hard to pick a top. Hard to pick a bottom. But some kind of pullback at the very least. Amazon. Well, we do have a V1 today. This bar's a little big. 43.91 RSI. Let's look at the weekly. Well, weekly is a V2 on the weekly. Underneath the 1 ATR channel, into the value zone, come back down. This is a V1 today. This week, basically today, is a V1. On the weekly, on the daily, you have a V1 here too, 43.92. I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative with this. I'm looking for a 30 RSI dip. I'm looking for a dip, and if it would line up with this third ATR channel, that would be great as well. To the upside, if the 5 crossed over the 50, that would be a momentum trigger to the or momentum signal to the upside. Boeing. Up above the 200-day moving average, holding there just too high, needs some kind of pullback. Berkshire Hathaway, we just added this. I can't remember who last week suggested that we use this, but I think it's a great idea. I know Steve has this on his watch list. Really strong, too high. I'd like to see it move back into the value zone. This is exactly where I'd like to buy this. Move back into the value zone, V1, V2. Caterpillar finally did come off the top a little bit. Again, wait for a pullback into value, some sideways movement, V1, V2 entry. Dow Jones looks like we're making another high today. 75.87 RSI. It's extremely high RSI, especially on an index, so can't do anything with this. Need to pull back. Walt Disney, we had that huge bar up. I drew this line here to see if we'd catch some support here. Didn't quite get here, but it did bounce off of its high today. Need some kind of pullback. This is just way too high for me to buy. Etsy is a potential today. It did close under 30, and right now it looks like it's closing over 30, which is a signal, right? So let me see if I can just do the numbers real quick. Last time this stock had this exact symbol, it went up 20%, and I missed it. And I know Steve missed it too. And I think we were both kind of bummed about that. So if this does, yesterday we were under 30, or Friday we were under 30 at a 29.43. Now we are over 30. My stop would be a close under the 30. My profit target be somewhere up in here if it rejected. So let's look at Etsy at the end of the day. Ford, nothing on Ford. Facebook, another strong day up here. Looks like we are having some kind of double top with a bearish divergence. Here's a top, right? Here we getting very close. See how high these bars were here? Now we're near this high again, and see how low this bar is? We did have a little red in the middle. This is what Dr. Elder calls double bottom with the divergence. Bearish divergence doesn't mean we short here, but just setup wise. If it went over 70, under 70, some kind of huge V1 bar, I might consider it, but not right now. 5 below, nothing there on 5 below. Gold doing well today. Looks like we're closing above the 50 RSI. This is the gold miners here. What I'm really looking for is on gold. I'm looking for on spot gold. Or regular gold. I'm looking for the 5 to cross back over the 20. That would be my signal. Google. Oh, geez, down today. Above. Okay, so this was above 70, below 70, above the third ATR channel, below the third ATR channel. If I was a shorting kind of guy, this is the kind of setup I would be looking for. I'm not going to short this, but we look for under 30, over 30, under the third ATR channel, over the third ATR channel on longs. Well, this is the opposite. Over 30 or over 70, under 70, over the third, under the third. But nothing for me today on that. Goldman Sachs, need to pull. We are getting into the value zone, but I need some sideways movement, V1, V2. Home Depot has just had this big, strong move up. Looks like we have earnings tomorrow, so I'm not going to get involved there. IBB, just too high. Need to pull back into value. Intel, just too high again. Like a lot of stocks, need to pull back into value. Russell 2000, poked our head into the value zone, up back above. I'd like to see this come in here. Have a couple down days of selling, then some sideways movement, V1, V2. I can't even look at this chart, guys. This bums me out so much. I bought this here on this higher low V1. Was profitable, up, 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 scaled out, scaled out, scaled out. I kept holding because we didn't close below the previous day's low, didn't close below the previous day's low. After moving up so nicely from my entry on the day that we got back to break even, I didn't want to let it turn into a loss. So I did get out here. The trade was profitable because I phased out. And then next day, so brutal. So brutal. Oh well, at least I wasn't shorted, and at least it was still positive. But this is sometimes what you can just set people off, right? I was like, are you kidding me? I waited, and finally got out because I hit break even, and then this. But oh well, what are you going to do? Coca-Cola. Looks like some of these consumer defensive stocks have a little bit of upward movement today. Lockheed Martin, strong to the upside. Needs some kind of pullback. MasterCard, getting close to a double top up here. Would need some kind of pullback. McDonald's up a little bit today. As you guys know, I sold a put down here, sold premium down here to 180. So as long as the price stays above 180 by December 13th, be able to keep all the premium on that trade. I do sell puts. I do sell premium occasionally if I have a good setup. Altria, if you guys recall, I was considering shorting that on Friday, but at the last few seconds I decided not to because I wanted to see it go up above the 200 and then close back below, and it had not really rejected that and give me confirmation, so I did not short this, thankfully. But we do have a double top with the bearish divergence. Here's our top, high MACD bars. We came back down into the value zone. We painted some red MACD bars. Now we are higher than the previous high, but see how low these bars are compared to this? This is what Dr. Alexander Eller calls a bearish double top with the bullish divergence. We also have a bearish RSI divergence. See up here how high the RSI was? See how now we're higher, but see how the RSI is actually lower? See up here we're at the third, fourth, fifth ATR channel. Now we're higher, but we're only at the second ATR channel. These are all bearish divergences, but you know, I might consider shorting this, but at the very least I'd have to have a drop under 70 or a close under the 200. So nothing there today. Merck, yeah, nothing on Merck. Microsoft just keeps going up and up and up and up. I need some kind of pullback into value. Look at Netflix today with the big day here. Very nice. I did take this trade here when the 5 crossed over the 20. If I mechanically traded this, I would still be in it and I would have done better, but you know, I don't always mechanically trade these crossovers. So did have a next day, it had a nice move up, another nice move up here on this bar, another one here, and I did get out when we rejected this previous high and we had this bearish reversal bar, but it was still a nice trade. But if I didn't have to go through this drawdown here, but if I would have just completely mechanically traded this, I would still be in here. So anyway, if any of you guys have Netflix, congratulations. But you know, it just goes to show you sometimes trading mechanically is going to do better. Sometimes getting in with the crossover, getting out discretionarily, if it kept going down, would have been a better. So no right answer on that. It's just what your preference is. Nike, strong above the 1 ATR channel. MACD went positive. Needs some kind of pullback into value to look at that. Philip Morris, we're going higher. MACD or momentum's high, not as high, non-existent. It means that it's running out of momentum up here. So something, I'm not going to short this, but something to keep in mind. PayPal did have that 520 EMA crossover. I did backtest that. It didn't backtest well, so nothing there. If we could get another day down and then a higher low V1, V2, that would be interesting. The Qs looks like still above 70 RSI, so very strong. Silver up a little bit today. I've been waiting, trying to be patient and waiting for a 30 RSI down in here. If we could get a 30 RSI that lined up with like the 200-day moving average, that would be a great confluence and offer a good risk to reward. So just need to be patient on silver. Alternatively, if it moves up to the upside and I don't have a V1 or I don't get a deep dip, then I could also look to potentially enter with the 520 crossover. S&P 500, small loss overnight. We'll be buying this again today at the end of the market. Bonds, nice little rally off the bottom here. MACD is positive. Technically, this is a higher low V2. We're underneath the 1 ATR channel. We rallied into the ATR channel, the value zone. Friday did wash out Thursday's low. Looks like today we possibly are going to close over Thursday's close, which would give us a higher low V1, V2. To me, though, see how we're at 48.23? It looks like we already possibly rejected the 50 RSI today. So I'm going to let that one go. Tesla, too strong for me. Looks like it's going to, it's been above the third ATR channel this whole time. Now it looks like we might be closing below. I don't have this, but that might be a signal for me to lock in profits on this trade if I did. Twitter, of course, we bought that on Friday with the V2 under, under the third, over the third, the nice V2. Earlier in the day, got right on up here, right to the 30 RSI, and that got rejected. So looks very likely I'll just be taking this off now. Healthcare, way too high. Oil, looks like we lost the 200-day moving average, nothing there. VIX, so low, so low. I do want to show you guys something though. So this is the VIX. You see how we've started to make this base here? And we've made all-time highs today in some of the indexes, but you see how the VIX has not made all-time lows now. So that's this is somewhat bullish divergence for the VIX, which would be negative for the market. So just something to watch. I like to see if the market goes down, if the market's going up, is the VIX going down as much as it's going up? So the market's still going up, but now the VIX is holding some support, which could mean something. But on the tradable VIX here on the ETF, 2582, we did buy here when it went under 30, over 30. Next day it closed below, took this small loss. Good thing we did, but I'm looking for a close back over 30. Verizon, nothing there. Walmart had that huge big up day, came back into support. Has held pretty well there, but nothing there. Energy Select, we are back into the value zone. We were outside of the value zone, inside of the value zone, move sideways, move sideways, move sideways. I'm going to be looking for a V1 or V2 here. Above the value zone, into the value zone. Did hold for a couple days here. So no entry trigger yet, but it's starting to look set up. Financials, just too high. I need a pullback. Real estate, right now it's at 50.08. If we close under 50, I've got to get out of this trade. Utilities, nothing there, and healthcare, nothing there. So the only thing that I see at the moment, Etsy is now under the 30 RSI. So doesn't look like I'll be buying Etsy unless it closes back above the 30 RSI. So what I do have to manage and look at the moment, Dollar Tree is fine. SPY, that's going to buy automatically. Twitter does look like it rejected the 70, so I will have to take this off. The 30, excuse me. Not used to buying under 30. I did reject the 30 over me, so it looks like I will be taking this off. And XLRE 50.08. Interesting. So that one looks like it's going to be right on the bubble, nail biter. Marco says, Jim Simmons' book is great. Jackson says, Steve, listen to the podcast you were on with Christopher Uhl. Great one. Yeah, I listened to that too, Steve. That was freaking awesome. And actually, I was super surprised that you guys talked about Gossett trading at the end. That was really nice. Thank you and Christopher so much for that. I really, it was very surprising. I didn't think you'd be talking about that, but I really appreciate that. And if you guys haven't listened to that, after the market closes, I'll post the link again for that interview where Christopher Uhl interviewed Steve Burns. Also listen to a couple of previous interviews. Thanks for sharing this also. Good for my morning walk. Indoctrinating myself with good principles between you and Mr. Gossett. Oh yeah, you hang around Steve and I long enough, you'll become indoctrinated for sure. Steve says, ran into resistance. Disney ran into resistance at the third ATR channel. So let's take a look. Yeah, so your ATR channels are a bit different than mine, but listen, I've said this before. If our charts don't line up, it's not a big thing. Follow your charts, be consistent with your charts. Steve says, yeah, Etsy's last break back over the 30 RSI had one day drop that stopped us out, then turned around and had a 20% run up. You know, and Steve, I'll tell you, I mean, just a mistake on my end. I think I had a couple losing trades on Etsy, and I didn't want to take that next one. And of course, that was the one that rallied. Where was that thing? Oh, must have been back here. I think I had a couple. Yeah, it was here. There was no reason not to take it. I believe 37, 32, 31, under 28.37. We should have taken that. Under, over. Would it have worked? Yeah, would have worked just fine. But you know, that goes to show you that sometimes previous trades can influence your next trade. And I know it's hard, and you know, I mean, I know you're all human. We all have emotions. Of course, it's tougher to take. If you've had 3 losses in a row, taking the same signal on the same stock is tough to do the next time. But you know, lesson learned. Hey Kurt, how you doing? Good to see you, sir. Kurt says, hey Greg and all. Took TNDM last week for a 2 quick day trade with the 520. Worked out well. Oh, I like to hear that. TNDM. Tandem diabetes. All right, so you took the 520 crossover, okay, for a 2-day trade. Worked out well. Yeah, see the V1 to the downside. So I don't know if you phased or not, Kurt, but congratulations. Very nice. Johnson & Johnson. I'm never going to mention that stock again. Steve says, I saw the same divergence in VIX not making a new low when the SPY made a new high today. Yeah. Yep. All right, we have 3 minutes, and then I'll get to those other comments. Snap. Did we go? Oops. How's this gap here? I don't like the gap so much, Mount Doji. Yes, it is a V2, did come down, moved sideways, but one of my filters for the V2 is that you don't have a gap, and we do have a gap here. I don't know, MACD crossed over. You know, on this one, you're probably going to have to give it, you know, maybe halfway of this bar. So, you know, what does your upside potential look like? Oh, I only have 1 minute. I better get to work. Okay, that one's fine. Twitter is out of here, so let me go ahead and sell Twitter. Okay. Okay, Twitter's gone. XLRE does look like it's holding above, but we better get that one chambered up in case it does close under, but it looks fairly good right now. Oh. Etsy doesn't look like it's closing above the 30, so I won't be taking Etsy. So it looks like no new trades today other than the SPY trade. Dollar Tree looks fine. Twitter, I did go ahead and sell with the rejection of the 30 RSI above us. XLRE. Please tell me it closed over 50. It did. Okay. And then SPY, I bought at 312.02 for my new overnight SPY trade. So small loss on the overnight SPY trade there. 312.02. All right. So that's locked in for there. Dollar Tree is fine. Positive so far. Twitter, nice trade. Nice one-day trade, 0.82%. So nothing wrong with that. But we were under 30. We rejected that 30 and came back down. If it closes above 30, then I can look at it again, right, for a new entry. But all right, so Twitter's out of there. And no new trades. So we're pretty light here, right? We've got Dollar Tree, we've got SPY, and we've got XLRE. If XLRE does close below the 50 tomorrow, I will go ahead and take profits. But this has been a really nice trade as well. So that's that. But nice profitable day today, I gotta say that. Okay, so listen, before we get to more questions and comments, I just need to put in my quick plug, hope that's okay, and let everyone know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching, teaching, and mentoring lessons in the evening time via Skype. You know, I've been trading 24 years. I have a lot of experience with trading. I've studied with some very famous traders and authors one-on-one, Steve Burns being one of them, Dr. Alexander being one of them, Kerry Lavorne being one of them, and I've learned a lot over the years working with these traders and authors, and I do have a course. It's basically 10 hours, 5 2-hour Skype sessions, but honestly, I've never had a Skype session that went 2 hours. Usually it's 2.5 or 3, but it's fine. Doesn't cost any more, but you know, so they're pretty long. They're pretty intense, but you know, I teach you everything that I've learned over the last 24 years and what I've learned from my mentors and coaches, and it's very interactive. I do a lot of teaching, but then I have you do a lot of question answering. We do a lot of chart study. I have you break down the charts. I have you teach back to me what I told you. And in my opinion, that is the very best way to become a good trader, is to work literally right alongside an experienced trader, and not them just explain it to you and you go, oh yeah, I get it. But having that person explain it back to that person that's teaching them. So, you know, if you're interested, it's $1,000, but I think it's very well worth it. There's a, you know, you get a lot for that money. You get a lot of time and you get a lot of instruction, and I do it at nighttime. And so if, you know, you're thinking about it, my email is in the description of this video, and you can also contact me on Twitter. But, you know, if I get someone that's potentially interested in becoming a client, you know, what I like to do is I'd like to have kind of a two-sided interview with that person on Skype. Doesn't mean you have to take the class, but I just want to get to know you a little bit better, understand, you know, the challenges that you've had with trading, what your approach is, what your goals are, and you interview me, you know, and then I will help you, you know, I will teach you everything I know, but then I'll also help you put together a actual real trading plan that you can follow. You always hear everyone talking about, you know, you need a trading plan, you need an edge, but I don't think most people have it. And that's my goal when I teach the one-on-one lessons, is to have a real concrete, complete trading plan for you. So again, if you're interested, reach out to me on Skype, or you can reach or on Twitter. I always get those two confused. Reach out to me on Twitter, send me a message, or you can send me an email. And then if you like this channel, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, and I would also really appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It does help promote the channel and get the channel out there. A lot of people need help with trading, and you can help me help them by finding the channel, and all you have to do is hit the thumbs up button, and or if you share it on social media, that would be cool too. So, but at the very least, the thumbs up button would be awesome. So, okay, end of plug. Thank you very much for hanging through that with me. Okay, so Steve said, oh, okay. I saw the same divergence in a VIX not making a new low. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about today. So here's the actual VIX. Even though we've been going up on the indexes, like here's the SPY, up. Do you see how the VIX has been moving sidewards? So you hear me talk about divergence. If this was a convergence, the S&P would be going up and the VIX would be going down the same amount, but the S&P is going up, whereas the VIX is now holding steady. And that to me seems bearish. Don't know for sure, but it is a divergence, and I trade with divergences a lot, so it does seem bearish. So Good point, Steve, for sure. Sompors, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, let's take a look then. IRBT. Oh, iRobot. All right, let me look at this a little closer. 26 RSI, 26, 27. Today we went above. Yeah, I like this trade. I like this trade, and let me explain why. Actually, I have a lesson later today, and I'm writing this down because this is a perfect example. Okay, first of all, we went under the 30 RSI. If you go under the 30, back over the 30, it gives you a good risk to reward ratio with the close under 30 and looking for some kind of 50 RSI rejection above you. But look at the low. We're not quite, I guess this isn't a perfect example, but do you see how we come down here, we make this low? This is not quite as low, but see the divergence? See how deep these bars are? How deep the red bars are? Now I understand this is not equal to or lower than this, but it's pretty close. But less deep MACD bars. So this means it's a divergence. MACD divergence. Also down here with the third, fourth, fifth, 5.5 ATR channels. Again, I know this is not quite equal to that, but if it was, we might be at the 2.5 ATR channel. So there's a lot of divergences going on here, and if you have a divergence, double bottom, ATR divergences, RSI divergences, MACD divergences, that's good, it's interesting, but it doesn't mean you immediately take the trade, but you need some kind of trigger. Well, there's your trigger. There's your trigger right there today. Under 30, over 30. So if this were me, I was going to buy this, I would just use a close under the 30 as my stop, and I would look for some kind of rejection of the 50 RSI to the upside. So yeah, I like it, Sompors. I mean, I'm not recommending it, but you asked my opinion. That's my opinion. I like that. Marco says, yes, awesome podcast, Steve Burns. Okay, let's check that out real quick, see if we can find it. All right. This is the podcast where Steve Uhl interviews Steve. So I'm going to put that right in the chat there, guys, in case you'd like to listen to that. But that's Christopher Uhl interviewing Steve Burns, and I listened to it. It was great. Let's see. There's Chris. There's Steve. Okay. And Mount Doji did like snap. I think we just looked at that. Yeah, I mean it's a V2. I mean it's okay. I don't like this gap. That's the only thing. But does it give you a good risk to reward ratio? Well, yeah. If you're targeting the 70 RSI up here, yeah, compared to what your loss would be if you're. So did you take it? Did you take Snap, Mount Doji? Bing He says, I read that Keltner Channels was modified by Linda Raschke in 1980. The new version uses EMA instead of SMA. Ah, interesting. Well, that may be true, but I'll tell you the reason, Bing He, that I do use SMAs on my Keltners is because all of my other indicators are based off of the 20-day. Like the average true range is based upon the 20. So again, you don't have to get really caught up in something, whether something's an EMA or an SMA. And you might look, and one time the EMA worked better and one time the SMA worked better. Just pick something and stick with it, honestly. And you'll do just fine if you're consistent. But that is interesting, Bing He. How you doing, Bing He? Good to see you. Sunports, doing okay. How are you? I'm doing well, bud. Thank you. NXST. NXST. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Above the value zone, into the value zone, couple days sidewards. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful V1. Here's day one, washes out day one, closes above day one. Not only did we have a V1, we closed above the 50 RSI, and we closed above all the moving averages. That's very, very good. That's very strong. It doesn't mean it's going to be a profitable trade, but I love the setup. If it were me, if I took this trade here today, I would, in the coming days, if it closed below halfway of the washout bar, I would get out. But fantastic example, Sompors. This is beautiful. This is textbook perfect. Above value, into value. I would like to see maybe a couple more days sideways, or at least maybe one more day sideways, but not bad. And, cherry on top that it went under the 200, back over the 200. Nice V1, under the 50, over the 50. MACD's positive. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And your next one was MNST. MNST. Oh, monster. I don't really see anything there, Sompors. I mean, we rejected the 200-day. That's not particularly good. We're above the 1 ATR we're above the 1 ATR. We're above the value zone. I'd like to see this come back in, but that NXST is superb. Being He says, been trying to get into BRFS today, but it seems like no strength to go up. Well, it looks like yesterday, Friday, we went under the 30, very close anyway, and then closed back above. And now, now you have, or Thursday, Friday, it closed back above the 200-day, which I like, and a V2. I like this. Are you in it? Been trying to get in. Yeah, I think I think I would have gotten in this Friday if I was looking. It looks like, or Thursday, but I can't really tell whether this went under 30, over 30. My guess is that it did. But with the close back over the 200, that's another nice line of support. I like that trade, Bing He. All right, just looking back through these here. I talked about shop. With that crossover, did back test okay. Did back test profitably with the 520. But yeah, I mean, if I took this trade, I would wait for a close under the 5 crossing under the the price close, the 5 EMA closing under the 20 EMA as my stop, and then look, an ultimate profit target up there, 70 RSI if it rejected the 70 RSI. Maybe if it rejected this previous high here as well, MACD positive. Yeah, I like that. And we talked about the Jim Simmons book that Steve mentioned. I'm glad to know that. I'm glad I'm doing stuff that Jim Simmons does. Sorry, I have an F-35 fighter jet going over my house. Dr. Long says, I want to buy Uber on setups end of year. Yeah, tax loss selling is a thing for sure at the end of the year. So keep your eyes out for a nice end of year setup. We talked about Kurt, J&J. Can't mention that symbol ever again. I think that's it. Bing He says Friday low volume. Okay. I mean, it's something to consider, but I do like, under 30, over 30, under the 200, over the 200. Doesn't mean it's going to go up, but it probably gives you a fairly good risk to reward, and that's what's important. Jackson says, I find when stocks dance around critical points, i.e. just above the 30 RSI or just above the 200-day, I get in a trade when I meant to get out. Oh, really? I get in a trade. So you hit buy instead of sell, Jackson? It's a good point, guys. Unless, if this is new to you and your platform's new to you and the buying and the selling, the actual process of doing it on your computer, make sure, you count to 3 and make sure you're hitting the buy button if you think you want to buy, and make sure you're hitting the sell button. I can't tell you how many times someone has been short something and that goes up against them and they're like, I want to get out, so they hit sell. Well, they didn't get out. They just doubled their position, right? Just count to 3, take a deep breath, make sure the buttons you're hitting are the buttons you want to be hitting. Jackson says, I do stick to my plan and get out the next day or patiently wait for another trigger, and overall, I'm either flat or profitable. Okay, good. Oh, Jackson says, no, I mean, it's when it's just under 30. But then it closes just above. I'm not sure I understand. I find when a stock dances around a critical point or just above below 200-day, I get in a trade when I meant to get out. No, I mean when it's just under 30, but then it closes just above. Dang, Jackson, sorry, buddy, I'm not following. Let's see now. Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Amazon. I mean, it is a V1. It did close back up into the value zone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. All right. So listen, Jackson, thank you for coming by, my friend. Please let me know if you have any questions. Oh, Murat says, I sometimes do the opposite of what I see if the structure is too obvious. It usually works out short term. I think nothing happens by chance. Jackson says, i.e. it closes a cent under the 30, but ends up closing a cent. Oh, okay. I'm with you. Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's right on the bubble. You want to stay in, but at the last second, it's under the 30 and you hit sell, and then you look at the chart and it's 1 penny over and you should have been in. Okay, I'm with you. All right, Jackson, good to see you, my friend. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please keep me up to date on your trades. Jackson is a student of mine, former student of mine, and so, always very interested in how my students are doing and what their experience and what they're going through. So please let me know. Bing He says, if I had shorted MO last Friday, I would keep thinking about it now and regret. Yeah, I know, right? I was considering it. I was considering this on Friday, but I didn't see it go above and below. That's why I did not take the short. It does have bearish divergence, has a lot of bearish indicators. High, sell off, higher high, divergence in the MACD bars, divergence in the RSI, divergence in the ATR channels. All right, Bing He, thank you for coming, sir. Have a good day there in Singapore. Appreciate it. Jackson, good to see you, bud. Murat, thank you for coming by. Good to see you. Appreciate you and your input as always. Sompors, thank you very much, and great example on that NXST trades. Thank you for sharing that with me. Let's just look at that one more time, guys. Above the value zone, into the value zone, start to move sideways, spike down, reversal. Not only did it go under the previous day's low, close above the previous day's close, went under all these moving average, closed above all the moving averages, close above 50 RSI. Does it mean it's going to go up? No, it doesn't, but it's a perfect setup. If you took this setup 100 times, you probably win 65 times out of the 100. But very good. Thank you for sharing that. Mount Doji, good to see you. And don't know if you took Snap or not, but be interested in following that. Marco, good to see you, my friend. If there's anything I can do, Marco, you just please let me know, okay? And yes, that was a great podcast with Steve and Chris Uhl. And Steve Burns, thank you very much, sir. Always nice to have you here. Always a honor and a privilege. I'm always excited, and I know everyone else is always, stoked to have you here as well. Kurt, good to see you, my friend, and nice trade there on TMDM. Please stay in contact with me. Let me know how you're doing with your trades, and if you have any questions, anything I can help you with. Let's see. Dr. Long, good seeing you. Thank you for your input on the Uber trades. And William, good to see you, my friend. William's our friend from Hawaii. Keep in touch. Let me know how you're doing. Thank you for coming. Gamer Squad, good to see you. Thanks for saying hi, Gamer Squad. And I think that is it. Oh, and Evan. Evan snuck in there at the last. Good to see you, Evan. Hope you're doing well. Jackson says, Greg, what's the book by Jim Simmons? It's actually by, let's see, The Man Who Solved the Markets. Yeah, here it is. Right here, The Man Who Solved the Market, How Jim Simmons Launched the Quant Revolution by Gregory Zuckerman. This is what I'm listening to right now. That's the trader, it looks like, of all traders. I think I could be wrong, but I think he's averaged like in the 60% range a year. He started at 52, hadn't even ever been trading in the markets. Started at 52, if I recall correctly. All right, guys, I'm off on a hike. Then I'm teaching a lesson tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, if you guys are ever interested in lessons, please reach out to me. I love to teach, and I always look forward to when I have lessons and new clients. And so, yeah, consider it. If you're interested, reach out to me. So, all right, guys, have a good day. Go out and do something nice for somebody today. All right. Murat says 60% compound. Okay, yeah. I thought I had the 60% right. So anyway, good day today, good profitable day. Always happy for that. And so have a good rest of your day, and hope to see you guys tomorrow during the last hour of the day. Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.
U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.